All right, what's going on, guys? We're live from Dallas, Card Talk Pod. Guess we're starting over.
Just go.
All right, what's going on, guys? I'm Ryan, joined by Tyler and Lou, and we're live from Dallas. This is our third take on starting the show, so hopefully this is the right one this time. But just want to start it off, and same thing like last time. Let's get an idea of what you guys. What are your thoughts? Ty's looking at me like he's looking at the Ohio State logo, so we got to get this out of the way.
Every time he just subtly brings out some form of new Ohio State gear. I've never seen you wear that before.
You understand Ohio State plays in the Big Ten Championship today, right?
I do. But
He
like,
definitely
you could have waited till after the pod to bring it out.
He knew that. There's no shot.
He didn't know, dude.
Yeah, they beat Michigan by 1
No,
yesterday.
100%.
Let's be real.
100%.
All right, so thoughts?
Yeah, all right. Sunday morning, March 14th. My thoughts are day one of spring, right? Once the time changes, it's day one of spring. Here we are. Lot on my mind from the show. Last show, we didn't have tables. This show, we did. Main differences in tables versus no tables for y'all.
With tables, I get fired up because I feel a lot better about being able to sell my stuff. I didn't sell that much stuff this weekend, but I felt like I was in a better position to sell for two reasons. One, people are coming by the table, checking it out. They come back, they look, blah, blah, blah. Secondarily, I like that people come up to me to sell me things because it puts you in a position where you're at the advantage in the conversation to where someone's obviously coming to you because they need to move that stuff. Mine is more passive, so I like having a table. I hope we have a table in May. Are we coming back in May?
They're doing this in May?
I believe so.
Yeah, we'll be here in May.
Okay, well.
Sounds like we're coming
There
in
it
May.
is.
Yeah, I think for me, so I came in November, had a table with a showcase. January, we didn't have tables then. March came back, had a table. I think for me, after being set up twice and then being able to walk around, I actually prefer to walk around.
Yeah.
I like the ability to be able to go and look at everybody's stuff rather than being inclined to sit at my table and answer questions or work out trades or do anything like that. Because a lot of the bigger transactions you do anyways, a lot of those I feel like are with dealers to begin with. So if you really wanted to make a big transaction, you could just go to their table.
I agree.
And then I like the ability to flip through the $5 boxes or the quarter boxes, right? Jay took that play the other day. I was going through quarter boxes and finding those hoops rookies or prism rookie color. Like I enjoy that so much more than sitting around the table and sitting there for there were some periods of time where it was rather slow, right? I mean we had some really busy time on Saturday, and then Friday there was some times where it was 15-20 minutes you're just sitting there chatting.
Totally.
I think for me I actually prefer to be able to walk around. It's nice to have Dustin here with me to help run the table. And, we're all here together, so that was nice. But I think for me I would still prefer the table.
Don't you get both options with a table though? Like you have the ability to walk around.
I think you get both options with the table. There's a lot. It's a whole different game, to your point. And I think it just makes me realize more. We hit on it last show, but you got to come in with somewhat of a game plan and strategy. And you also got to realize that these weekends are a lot of work. You can come to a weekend like this. We met some different people first show, which fired me up. And this is my third show now, but fired me up as like they were just everyone's like overwhelmed. Right? We had Sam on. She came by, walked in. She's like overwhelmed. A couple other people were like overwhelmed. You have to very much have strategy, plan, thoughts. Last time we were here, we talked about how that lunch was key. Because a couple things, we'd sit there and like, all right, what's our play? Even down to, okay, now we have a table. What do you want to display on the table? We had 4 different cases. We had D-Rock and Andy at the end. We had Lou. We had myself. We had Ryan. First day I laid out a lot of Pokemon. There was zero interest in Pokemon. There was a PokeCon going on down the road. Second day I lightened it a little bit, put some more my kind of higher end stuff out there, got a lot more interest. And it even led to the biggest sale I've ever done came off of someone wanted a card that I was showing that I really wasn't willing to move on, and he wanted it bad. We couldn't agree on the price. And then he went and just bought my KD Chrome 10 that he did not have any interest in coming over for. And so I just think those little subtleties of what inventory are you putting out? Do you want to have raw to get some like kids and parents over there? Like there's so much sales. You talked about negotiating, you talked about the leverage, people coming up to your table versus not. You just keep learning more, and I think having a table is important because it puts you in that position of, I'm gutted. I walked away and did a route, cruised around, and I left, and they texted me. I came back. Someone wanted to buy your Fleer Trio, and if I was there, that would have been a sale, big sale for the weekend.
And see, this I want to stop you there because this is something, as someone I've preached this before. I know it's not going to change. A lot of people are very different about this. We are very different, us three, in our setups because I had prices on every single card.
There was a price on the card.
And a lot of your guys' stuff priced on day one, and I think this is important about the setting up thing, about the amount of work required for it as you get there. And I think you guys were a little like taken back by it, right, when we first started. And I've got everything priced and out, and you guys are like,
yeah, you had a little gun. It was kind of fire.
And you guys are like, we got to price stuff. And we were sitting there looking up stuff and pricing. And I think that's so key because especially for like us, right? Like we all took turns. We did a great job of like. Lou was out, and then Lou and Tyler were out, and then I was out, and Jason was out, and we were able to cover the booth, but in a place where we can all agree we did not have reception, we didn't have internet, to be able to get a hold of somebody and like you're like, hey Tyler, somebody wants to buy this Ansu Fati PSA 10 sticker, and you're like, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
what?
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But what I was gonna say is there was a price on that sticker, but even so, like you can't. You have Dustin. You operate a business, right? You have partners. No matter what, like Lou is doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. And so there was a price on that, and the dude wanted to inquire, but you can't expect Lou to want to sell my card.
Negotiate for you.
You know what I mean?
By the way, like I was down. The crazy part is I was down to sell it, and like I was like, nah, I'll just wait for him, and then he just.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's just like you don't. It's different, and so those certain plans or strategies, you can come here and you can. Go through the show as a solo person with a small box and do some deals, but you got to also realize that if you're going up to tables and saying, hey, you interested in buying stuff?
You're very much at a disadvantage.
You're at a different leverage point than someone that walks up to you and says, hey, you interested in buying? That means you're trying to sell me something. Okay, cool. That means I know where your mental state is at and you're looking to get rid of some of those cards. Whereas I'm sitting here, these are my prices. You want them? Cool. No? All right, keep it moving. There's a lot of other cases around. So it just comes down to things. And even there was a conversation I had with a friend that was here, kid that I admire and respect, and he comes down with some buddies and pulled me to the side and was like, hey, like I take this thing really seriously, and sometimes it's just kind of like me hanging out with my buddies. For my buddies, it's just like a hang out, shoot the shit thing. How do I play that of like, are we just hanging out, drinking beers, walking around, meeting people, talking, or are you here to do business? Because the weekend can go by like that, and you didn't really do much.
Yep. Yeah, and I sometimes that can be a tough conversation to have, right? Because if you guys have seen it before. When I'm on the floor,
we don't see Ryan, bro.
I'm zoned, right? Like,
by the way, real quick, Ryan didn't tell us he was here. I saw him on the floor Thursday night. I had no idea where Ryan was until I saw him on the floor. In my
defense, I was only here for like literally 3 minutes before he saw me.
But I respect it. You like dial it in, man. You really dial it in when you're here, and you can tell. It's like
it's like for me, it's like when I'm on the floor, I want to be able to walk around, buy stuff, sell stuff. And then, stop in between tables and see people and meet people. But for the most part, like, I'm focused when I'm there. But I do want to kind of transition, and we talked about this a lot last time in January. Who were the guys, right? What was people's interest, or where were people's heads for who was hot at this show?
Listen, I don't want to say it, but Ryan gave me a lot of attitude when I said that baseball was going to be a play at the show. And I was right. So, shocker there. But I would say Tatis and KD were the two things that I thought were the biggest.
Yeah, for sure. Baseball was there, right?
Baseball was hitting, for sure.
I was at a lot of tables watching people ask about, Bo Bichette or Franco or Tatis, or just so many baseball plays. But for me, it was still KD.
Yeah, it was
KD. Chrome refractors, chrome color, anything KD was really the talk of the show for what I saw.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because, Tal, I'll let you get in here, but this has definitely been a different theme, really, at every show we've been at. I went to November, and it was a different theme than what was
November vibes a little bit, if you can recall?
Yeah. So in November, I mean, my thing in November was to really get at, into some unique things, which is what January ended up being.
Yeah.
But in November, it was a lot of Trey and Luca.
Yeah.
Trey and Luca, right? That was right around the time of basketball starting.
Yep.
Trey and Luca were hot. A lot of the basketball stuff was hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then in January, when we came, it was the GOAT talk.
Yeah, it
was
was.
anything Jordan,
GOAT
LeBron,
talk?
Kobe, Kobe, Brady. It was anything that had anything to do with the GOATs.
Yep.
And then this time, it seemed to me like it was more baseball and KD.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to pick up Trout and Soto. I was just getting educated, which was nice because I've made the decision off the last episode where I said I'm going to make a play. I was like Soto. I was looking at the Bowman Chrome Auto base, which is like not a cheap card, or just a good solid Trout and Soto entry point. I didn't make an acquisition, but I feel like I started to get there in terms of my understanding and how I'm thinking about it and seeing it. KD, I made two sales of KD that I'm incredibly happy about. And then I almost went and flipped it back and picked up a Quad 9.5 Chrome right after for a great price. But I didn't want to quickly transact. I feel like I did also pick up a Devin Booker silver, which I was excited about, very excited about, from my buddy who is now a newfound buddy. I met his brother on Instagram. 2 Philly kids, Philly through and through. Good sale there. I think
one kid was very Philly.
Yeah, super Philly.
Ryan.
But Ryan, he's good. He's good people.
Yeah.
KD was on fire. Everyone wanted KD. Baseball was on fire. I think that there's a lot of good buys in basketball right now. Based on this moment, and basketball All-Star game was its lowest ever, right? Typically you'd have that juice. Season's lulling a little bit, but come playoff time, and are they doing the pre-playoff tournament this year, or is that next year?
I think that's next year.
Either way, we all know basketball is going to become white hot again. Playoff time gets crazy, and people go on runs, and I think for the lack of chatter around most basketball players outside of Kevin Durant at the show, I think there are buys to be had in the basketball market. Thoughts?
I continue to not like basketball, so I'll take your word for it. But
You're sticking to baseball.
I'm sticking to baseball because what I wanted to say was, coming out of the last show, based on what you were saying about Luka and Trey, whatever comes out of this show seems to become the hot thing in general. So it's Sunday, it's 10 a.m. I'm going to try to go in there before I have to leave and make a couple baseball plays on a couple things in like the $1,000 to $2,000 range, because those are the things that I think have the opportunity to run up here and quickly in a short period of time that I can flip and make money and put it, and then maybe put it into a basketball, put it into a KD refractor, put it into a da-da-da.
It's that preseason run-up we see in a lot of sports.
Yeah, bro, it's inevitable. And also football, don't sleep. I mean, we're not to jump ahead too much. We talk about it Wednesday, but like football is
getting sneaky,
it's
right?
on its way back.
I know. We try to make Saturday Jerry Day, a.k.a. sell Jerry Rice, a.k.a. we were on Jerry duty.
See, I think
we didn't close it.
I think football is down right now, and I think that will be the talk in May. Because if this happens in May, like the end of May again,
T. Lawrence,
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this. I'm fairly confident that's the weekend of the draft or the weekend before the draft is when this next show to come. If that's the same weekend as the draft, and we get in Thursday night, the night of the NFL draft, this place will be all
lit
NFL.
Up.
Oh,
all
I'm not going to be
NFL.
here if it's going to be the night of the draft. I'll be here Friday.
So,
Big night for me.
Yeah, I think that could be intriguing. So I'm curious to see what'll happen around that time. But I do want to say, we've talked about this a little bit. The attendance at this show, the attendance on the last show, I was here in November. As this has grown, this just seems to be leading up to what would be a wild event in Chicago at the National. And I think that's worth pointing out.
I completely think so. I agree. That it seemed. I feel like we were early on like, seems like there's a lot of sellers in here. But I just believe that having the table, you have to put a different you see the show differently. You're not in it. You're not walking around. You're not hitting shoulders
because you're relying on
as
people
much.
coming to you.
Yeah, and we got stuck in the boonies.
Yeah, I mean that's Jay.
To be frank. No, I'll back up Jay on that one a little bit. There's a couple folks, good friends that we've met here now. One might be named Rohan that works at Dallas Card Show that maybe could have done a little bit better for us. But
Yeah, interesting.
no, it was all love. We had 3 tables. We had 4 showcases. We were slinging some teas. But we were deep in the back cut. And those, right when you walk in tables, are there's some good action there.
Prime real estate.
Prime real estate. I think that definitely matters. What a good play was, though. We had the high flag.
Yeah, you could see us from anywhere in the building.
Second you walked in, you could see that Car Talk logo with
Anywhere in the
137.
building,
And that's where we got to say props to Jay.
Yeah, that's where you got to
credit
give
to Jay
Jay
for
some
doing
love.
what he was supposed to do.
And then a little middle of the pack road was we had. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We don't. Yeah, you're right. We had the step and repeat behind, but it kind of killed the vibes with like the whole crew around us.
Yeah.
Kind of like blocked us out. So
Oh, people were upset? Is that why we took it down?
just the energy wasn't like flowing. You know, it was like blocking.
Yeah, I get it.
One thing I'd be remiss to not bring up, and Lou, I was hoping I'd coerce you into making a play, but the footy chatter was palpable. The
Whatever.
footy chatter was palpable.
I believe
Ryan, as a unbiased individual, do you feel that there was a lot of people coming up asking you about the footy game?
There was a lot more soccer chatter than I had anticipated, for sure. I think soccer, again, as someone that picks it up and is intrigued by it, right, doesn't follow it like, you do, follows it probably a little bit more than my guy Lou does.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there was a lot more. That would have probably been kind of that, like, KD, baseball, and then soccer. There was a lot of conversation happening about soccer. I saw a lot of people talking about Mbappe Prism stuff, sticker cards. I mean, that $125,000 Halan was,
Yeah.
was
Someone had one there at the show.
was a big
there was
move.
a couple, by the way.
It's that sale is crazy, but when I think about footy, I think Ryan about you a lot because I do think that at the last show,
Thanks about you.
I think about you a lot. At the last show, there was 2 cats, I think, from San Diego that had a plethora of
LAFC
yeah,
Gooner. We
Gooner,
got
LAFC
to
Gooner.
shout him out
Yep.
because he's got some stuff.
He's got heat, but he had volume. And so if you went to that show with any interest in anything soccer, you ended up at his table.
And they were right where we were this time.
Yeah, they were right there. So what I think is a volume of something and then sprinkling like mix of inventory around it can be very, very attractive as a business. And why I say I think about you, because it doesn't always have to be about buying pieces hoping to 5x them, or buying pieces to collect. I think at times just having inventory is very healthy for your business.
And I think that that's something I try to replicate in the shop, right? Like the margins don't always have to be good, but when someone comes up to your table, if you can say, "Hey, do you have this?" and you can say yes more times than not, I feel like you did a pretty good job, right? So you may not make $1 million on it, but then that person's looking for that next time, and that automatically leads them to you, and I think that's important.
Yep.
The one thing I was going to say was, on the soccer front, it feels like there's very much like people came up to me and were like, "Yo, where's Tyler? I want to sell him soccer." It feels like if you are known as the soccer person or people know you as you have soccer, it's very good because they go directly to you. In the same way that like in a different way, like baseball is everywhere at the show, basketball is everywhere at the show, soccer is very much in like 9 people's showcases, and there's some people have it spread around, like they have 1 or 2 cards here. Like I have 1 Yu-Gi-Oh card in my thing. I'm not the Yu-Gi-Oh guy in any way.
Yeah.
Like there's some soccer spread around, but for the most part, I feel like there was like 4 people in there who had all the soccer, and Tyler Schmidt was one of them.
Yes, but a lot of people, it seems, are coming up saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get into soccer. How do I get into soccer?" And that's where I think having inventory like that, homie, and we're going to get his name right, and we're going to have him on the show because we missed it. I messed it up. I was supposed to have him this time. His wife wears the Rashford United jersey. They just have they have so much footy stuff over there, some good slabs, raw stuff. So it's good for their business because everyone just comes up like, "Yo, I heard you like. What should I get? I just want to get into it a little bit." And then how that carries on over the years in the hobby and connections and all that, sell someone their first kind of soccer card or baseball card for that matter is good. I think it comes down to having inventory. But then you got to start thinking about traveling to a show with all that inventory, setting up. You need extra hands. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and it's not just. I think that is. After leaving this show for a second time, what I've come to realize, and we've talked about it on here a lot, but the quote-unquote kids that have killed it in sneaker reselling, or the Amazon arbitrage flippers. Gary said this a million times, but you just learn a shitload about business and customer service and all the different things that can get done, and getting scammed, and people ragging on you because you were a day late because someone in your family's sick and you got to do something, but they don't give a crap. It's like just the repetitions more and more and more.
Yeah, and so one thing I want to kind of transition to here, and I know we've got a trade to talk about, but before I go into it, I tried to set this up last time, spent 6 hours and had multiple employees try to help me find this, and I couldn't find this. And I got this card a long time ago in a deal. I collect like unique things, right? Game used, rare pieces, love it. But I think there's some things out there that aren't, that are meant to be with people that would enjoy them more, right? So I found this card a long time ago, and I'm actually going to give it to Lou. Because I think this is meant to be in Lou's collection.
Oh my goodness.
So you guys know I'm a Patriots fan.
I'm perked up.
Right? So I can't, this just can't be in my collection. As much as I love rare game used stuff. Got a game used 101 NFL Shield auto of Mark Sanchez.
Oh my
little
goodness.
101 action.
Let's wrap that up on video.
I tried to find it last time. Couldn't find it before. No, I found it in a deal a long time ago. It's actually kind of a double 101 because what you don't notice originally about it is the auto's upside down.
Wow, that's classic Mark Sanchez, to be honest.
So it's actually a double Mark Sanchez 101.
Sanchez's auto is upside down.
That's a because there's a 6 at the end.
That's amazing.
So a little game use shield. Got to be a cool Sanchez card, right? I know we talked about, what was kind of your Grail card, and Lou mentioned, Sanchez, and I was like, dude, I got a cool Sanchez. I'm a Patriots guy. This is not meant to be in my collection. This is definitely meant to be in.
This is incredible.
That is a seminal card talk moment right there.
I am out of my mind.
But seriously, I think that leads one thing I've learned a lot in this hobby over time is the community aspect of this is what makes this what it is, right? Mm-hmm. I posted it on my Instagram story and I posted it on Twitter, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? 12:45 in the morning. This place was packed, right? And I think that gets overlooked in this. You're like, hey, what's selling? What's buying? What's trading? But the people, the relationships, that is going to outlast any of the hot trends or the hot sales in this market long term. And I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think also because you are doing deals with people, it takes the relationship to a bit of a different place because there's trust and understanding of interests and passion, and there's obviously the networking, but people are transacting, and we can use this to go into that deal, the trade that went down yesterday that kind of had the whole place on fire. But
he's coming over.
It's not, to be taken lightly when you sell something to someone for $15,000 and you have a presence on social media and people in the hobby talk. And so you have to, there's a forced nature, which I believe is good for a lot of people, that you can't really be a bad guy in this room or you will get smoked out.
Yeah.
Very quickly. We've seen it, what I don't even know how the story ended, but the Tom Brady autograph Photoshop situation.
The PWCC thing?
The amount of detective work that happens in this hobby.
And people are bored too.
Is insane. And so it just, you can't, if you try and pull fast one on people, you will get got.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. We got Sasha on the show. So if you guys saw our Instagram page, if you guys saw any Instagram page really this weekend, you saw probably one of the biggest trades I've ever seen done.
Definitely the biggest trade I've ever seen.
In general, yet alone at this card show. And so we'll let Sasha tell us what happened, and then we'll get into it and digest what happened.
And Sasha, welcome to the show. Welcome to the live show.
Hi, Sasha.
As another esteemed, maybe top 4, top 5, hobby content creator, we appreciate you coming on and joining us.
Yeah, I also don't want to go there, but Sasha wants to come on Car Talk really bad, he may or may not have committed to a $400,000 deal just so he can get on Car Talk for 10 minutes.
Honestly,
You're
it was
so
honestly.
now it all
You
makes
think about
sense.
that?
Honestly,
The deal was done for the interview.
We've been talking about Charizard 10s for like a year now. Here we are.
you want to tell them the story?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you want me to just kind of give a breakdown
Yeah.
of the
yeah,
background?
but
Yeah.
before we go into it, I got a question.
Yeah.
Can Charizard tear his ACL?
You can't. And you know what I should have done? I should have put the shirt up when we closed the deal.
Absolutely.
But
He
Would've been
deserves
nice.
this shirt.
my
Would've
friend
been
Lou
nice.
wasn't there when the deal was getting done.
Okay.
I texted this guy.
It's true.
I was like, "Hey, bro, I need you." He's like, "I got you." Just when you text
I was
me,
there.
He's there, and then he's gone.
I'm not gone.
Listen, he had a table to run. Like he was.
You can't be
Whatever,
there
bro.
for like 10 minutes for your
Whatever.
friend.
Just tell the story.
Okay.
You're so annoying.
So on Friday,
Okay.
the guy walks up to me. He comes up with the trout Bowman first.
Okay.
First time,
Quick preference.
yes.
Coming into the show before you got on the flight to come here,
Yeah.
were you in the market for a Charizard?
No,
10?
not at all. No.
Okay.
When I come to these shows, the biggest thing is, what are the biggest cards I can buy? Doesn't necessarily matter what they are, but it's the biggest cards I can buy, because my game is all high end,
Yeah.
moving high end to high end, moving
Yeah.
money into high end. So I was not in the market for a Charizard 10, no. But the guy walked up 2 days ago with a trout. We were able to close a deal on that for 30. Then he goes, "Hey, look, I just sold my Michael Jordan Flair PSA 10." I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then he goes, "I have some other stuff with me," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And he pulls out the Charizard 10,
New label 10, by the way.
new label 10, and in my back of my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna get this card. You know what I mean? I'm just like looking at it, and I'll act cool and be like, "Oh yeah, like I'm sort of interested," you know.
The half interest to it, the step back.
You know.
Cool.
And then he said he had a, I think he said he had a 350 cash offer, and I was like, "Look, I'm not gonna be able to put up that like in wire or whatever, but if you want to work a trade with some money, I could make something happen." And then he's like, "What do you have?" So I was like, "Dude, look what I have. You come to me and you let me know what you want to do." Nothing happened.
It's Friday still.
This is Friday. Saturday comes through. We're wheeling, we're dealing. A Charizard 9 comes up. I buy it. And then right when I buy it, the guy comes through.
I literally walked up to you as the 10 was there, and Kyle was like, "Yeah, he got a 9." I'm like, "What is happening in front of me?"
Yeah. Well, the 9 seemed like good value. At
Yeah.
45, that seems
I like that.
like good
Pretty-
value.
And you've already moved the 9
I
to
moved
Matt,
the 9.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, then the guy comes up with the 10, and he's like, "Oh, so you don't want to buy this now because you bought the 9?" And I'm like, "No, I'm interested." And I literally was like, "Dude, let me know what you want to do." And he's like, "Well, how much like wire or cash can you put up?" And I was like, "Dude, I can put up anywhere from 100 to 200. Like, you let me know." So then we just slowly start working this deal from the bottom up. He was really interested in that LeBron X Factor BGS 9 I had. Initially, we had that Kobe Refractor PSA 9 in the deal.
That's what I thought you were
That
gonna
was
do.
the main
Peace.
piece.
Yeah.
He didn't understand the whole greening to non-greening aspect and what premium you can get on it. So that
Yep.
was the
Yeah.
You're
And
off
he
on the
walked
value
around a
there.
little bit,
he was
too.
walking around. That was the education that he was trying to understand.
Yeah.
And I get it. If you don't know, if I don't know,
Yeah. You gotta just walk the floor.
yeah.
Ask questions.
So that was the main card going in. I think I don't know. We had 3 initial deals revolving around that. It didn't happen. It didn't go through. Then he starts to lean towards the BGS 9.5 Kobe Exquisite, which is the highest grade card, graded card for that. So there's nothing higher for BGS. We got that at the last show for $60K. Just to give some context. So he puts that there. He likes the LeBron X Factor, which I got from Mealy Pop's last show.
Yep.
Yep.
And he puts the LeBron Chrome 10 down. And I'm like, "Look, I'm willing to deal." And from there, we were just looking at what
LeBron Chrome 10 base.
LeBron Chrome 10 base.
Yep.
And at that point, it's just cash.
And then at that point, we're just negotiating on cash. I think he came in at he wants 85. I was like, "No, I'm not going to give you 85. I'll give you 70. And then we met in the middle at 75. He puts his hand out. to shake on it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And he takes his
He
hand
does a
back.
half interest.
I give one of these, and I'm like, all right. He's like, let me call my guy because he has a partner in it. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, you just.
Like
you
it's
know,
over.
He went half
Yeah,
interest.
it's over.
Yep.
He comes back like 20 minutes later. There's 2 guys that are with him. Like, yo, yeah, I think we can get the deal done. Blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. Comes back, 100K, and like we'll do it. Like, I don't know if I want to do it. So he was, hustling me. You know what I mean?
He's working.
Little hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also get it
listen,
for him, bro.
I get it.
It's
Nerves.
a very
I
big
get
part.
it,
There's
but like,
nerve.
that's
Yeah. Again.
Multiple ways to look at it.
yeah.
Yep.
But one thing me and Coleman cards, Michael will always talk about is like if you're going after cards like this, Michael Coleman.
I know. I've never heard Colt Michael before.
Okay.
I love this guy.
Keep going. I like the education that's happening here.
We're always talking about if you're going after a big card, man, and you believe in the card, what's 5, 10, 15, 20K
You got to have conviction.
in the macro? If
Yeah.
you fucking believe in the card.
If you
Yeah.
think the card's $1 million, who cares about 25?
I do. Well, and I do believe it's $1 million.
Yeah.
So that was in the back of my mind. I was with Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Nate was upset, and you'll see when the video comes out, as anybody would, because he's like, dude, like my homie's like getting like my homie's. The deal was done, so he felt like he was
Yeah.
trying to like look out for me.
Yep.
And I totally get it. And I was pissed too in the back of my mind, but like the only thing that was pushing me, and I was like, if I back away from this deal over like 20K, I'll be more pissed.
Yeah, you'll regret it.
I'll
Yeah.
regret it.
And then you have resentment
And then
the
it's
whole
just not
thing.
good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, I was literally like, dude, I don't want to go back and forth. I don't want to come back another day. What would you take right now? He says 100K. I said, okay. Put my hand out. You shook on it. Deal done. So
Boom.
that's what happened.
Banger.
What is like your last 6, 8? What do you plan to do with the card?
I've been thinking what I should do with the card. I'm not selling it, of course. When you have that big of a card, it's not a quick flip card.
Mhm.
It's a let the
Market breathe.
market mature on itself.
You didn't buy the Charizard to flip it the next day.
No,
You don't buy
I
cards like
can't,
that to
right.
make
No.
a quick
You
flip
let
on that.
it. You let
Yep.
it ride. And
It's
I'm at the point now where I'm able to like hold something like that, which is dope. I think it's $1 million card. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yep.
And
crazy.
I came to you guys when it started to cook up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys were kind of the same mindset. I was on the same mindset. It's pop 121.
Mm-hmm.
That's the card.
It's the card.
Most humans that know what a card is in the world knows like that.
And
like cards like
and-
Charizard?
And
Card?
you look at the top 1% people, how many of those guys are going to want this card? That's how
Yeah.
I looked at it. Like, so,
Ash Ketchum.
and the thing is, too, is like, it's 400 now. Yeah, it can go down
Yeah.
to 300. Like, sure, like it can. But,
It's
am I
yeah.
selling it at 300? No. Like,
It's the same conversation I always have when people are like, the Jordan PSA 10s did 700, they're down to 600.
Yeah.
You didn't buy a $700,000
Chilling.
Michael Jordan to sell it the next week
No.
for 725,000.
No.
That's not how that works.
And I think, because you guys posted it, and I think because a lot of people were like, yo, I wouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. Try to, try to play the flip game, and, like, this was the best move.
Yeah.
Like,
It's also tough for someone on Instagram who's never done something of that magnitude to where they see $100,000 and a super rare Kobe and a super rare LeBron, and they're like, wait, that's obviously the answer. You have to see the vision of like, this is what I'm into.
You
Hopefully
gotta-
that's what this does.
yes.
I'm into these cards for X, 100K cash, cool.
Well, those are
I'm
also
into a card
le-
that's $1 million.
yeah,
Like could be $1
For
million.
most people, those are also legends and
Yeah, it's like an
and
out of
a
control
forever
piece.
sport,
Dude, if
and
you're-
then a child's
the
game.
difference is if you're buying a Charizard 10, you can't give up bullshit trade.
Yeah,
You're giving up big
You gotta give up real
pieces,
cards.
of course.
and that's what went down, and he's going to do well on it, and I'm going
Sure.
to do well on it.
What did you? What are some things? Because you weren't. This is the biggest deal that maybe you've ever
Dude,
done. You've done
yeah,
some big
yeah.
ones, but what? We've known each other maybe 2+ years now. When we first met, you were not doing these
No.
types
Luka
of
base
deals.
10s. Luka base 10s. Flip
We
of those
talk.
babies, dude.
We talk a lot about
Yeah.
reps on
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah.
What has been your grind? Give us 1 or 2 things that you've kind of learned or picked up along the way for maybe a 15, 16-year-old that comes to these
Dude,
shows.
like it doesn't happen in one day. It just doesn't.
That's
like people now are looking at it like, oh, you picked up this, like, bro, like, you don't remember, like, or you don't know, like, I was sending a shit ton of cards to PSA.
We were on the FaceTime for 3 hours talking about raw to grade, bro. It's
literally,
like,
like this, like conversation, building relationships, flipping, just like the grind, like it's
the grind.
That's what people again.
And you build and you build and
So
you build
true.
and you build, and when you're trading into big pieces, you give up a little bit more value because you want the piece, you believe in it, you let it ride, you move on to the
You
next.
gotta
Like,
trade up.
And then you get a big card, right? And then you trade down, and you get more assets that you can do more
Yes.
with, and then you use those to
It's-
trade up. And
that's the game.
people, this is so true, right? It's like people see where Sasha's at now. They see where people get to, and they're like, "Wow, this is so crazy." But like you said,
It's a
you know,
lot of grind
you,
hours.
you go to shows 5 years ago, and you're not buying that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen overnight. Like, but if you continuously work at it, like you said, you build relationships. It's real, right?
Yeah.
Like it, and this is proof of it, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Well,
And
congrats, brother.
and the real part too, I just want to say real quick is, a lot of people are holding cards and they're like, it's worth X.
Yeah, no.
Go sell it.
Yeah.
It's not
Go
worth.
see what you
yeah.
get
Go
when you
sell your
it.
big
Tyler
card.
always says this. It's not worth that until you realize the value.
So like when people are like, yeah, I feel good about it. He's gonna do well on it.
You guys are both gonna
I'm
do
bummed
amazing.
that you didn't sell me that KD. 'Cause I could give him a little extra dough.
I
But
sold it at the
but-
sticker price, bro.
Tyler stick to his
When you
guns
weren't
and made a
there.
play.
And when I was, and
When he wasn't even there,
Yeah, it's a good point.
Dustin sold it.
Dustin
That's a
sold
good
it for
point.
I
me.
You're
will
not
say
wrong.
though, I think I had the shirt on my
Yeah,
thing when
whatever,
the deal was
bro.
going
You
down.
were being a
But
little
did you?
disrespectful.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got a
But
little
the
back
reason,
on,
Sash, the reason I didn't sell you the Durant is because I watch your content and I
I
ain't
know,
selling
I
it.
know,
Yeah,
I
look,
know.
this kid is always trying
Because
to
I was
hustle
like, if
people.
I was Sasha, would I sell? Nah.
No.
So I ain't
See,
selling it.
that's a problem now though.
Sasha's taking your card and he's walking into Burbank tomorrow or Tuesday and like
Yeah.
making his.
I had a buyer.
Respect.
I had a
Respect.
buyer at 3-2.
Of course he did.
I-
Like, that's
I-
classic. Like that's unbelievable.
Well, I
like-
can't lie. I sold it at 3-2, and then I went to the other side of the show. Homie had it listed at 3-3, and I was just really trying for 3 flat.
Yeah.
And so that's what's the beautiful thing about these places and the marketplaces. And as long as you remain a good, intended, your intentions are pure. You have no intent of
100%.
fucking people over. You're trying to get yours. You're trying to see everyone out here win and do their thing.
Yep.
You can have a good time and maybe not take it all too seriously.
Dollar show. I can't wait to come back, dude.
Hell
Yep.
yeah.
Insane.
All right, so that's
Sweet.
all we got for that. Again, thank you, Sasha, for coming on talking about the trade. But we'll see you guys next time.
See
Yeah.
you Wednesday.
Boom.
Peace.